Stop overthinking at night. 7. Stoic practices to quiet your mind. Stoicism. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. The room is completely silent. The lights are off. Your body is exhausted. But your mind refuses to sleep. A conversation from 3 days ago suddenly replays in perfect detail. A mistake you made years ago feels as if it happened 5 minutes ago. A problem that hasn't even happened yet already feels real. One thought becomes another, then another. Without realizing it, you've created an entire future inside your mind. You tell yourself to stop thinking. You close your eyes tighter. You change position. You take a deep breath. Yet the harder you try to silence your mind, the louder it becomes. If you've ever experienced this, you're not alone. Millions of people lie awake every night, trapped inside thoughts that refuse to leave. They replay conversations they cannot change. They imagine futures that may never happen. They fight battles that exist only inside their own minds. Most people believe they have a thinking problem. They don't. They have a relationship problem with their thoughts. That changes everything, because your mind is not trying to torture you. It is trying to protect you. The problem is that it cannot always tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. To your brain, an uncomfortable memory can feel as dangerous as a tiger standing in the room. A conversation that ended yesterday can feel like a battle that still needs to be won. A future that hasn't arrived yet can feel like an emergency demanding an answer tonight. So your mind keeps searching, keeps analyzing, keeps preparing, not because it wants to hurt you, because it believes it is keeping you alive. More than 2,000 years ago, the Stoics understood something that modern psychology continues to confirm. Peace does not come from controlling every thought. It comes from changing the way you respond to them. Marcus Aurelius spent his days leading an empire filled with uncertainty, conflict, and constant pressure. Yet in Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he reminds himself to prepare his own mind before facing the world, knowing that true peace never depends on perfect circumstances. It depends on inner discipline. That is the journey you are about to begin. Not a journey to eliminate your thoughts. That is impossible. A journey to stop being controlled by them, because the goal is not an empty mind. The goal is a peaceful one. Tonight may not be the night your thoughts disappear, but it may become the night you finally understand why they never let you sleep. And once you understand them, you stop fearing them. Everything begins with the first Stoic practice. Ironically, it asks you to stop doing the one thing you've probably been trying all along. Practice 1. Stop fighting your thoughts. The first mistake most people make at night is surprisingly simple. They declare war on their own minds. The moment an uncomfortable thought appears, they immediately try to push it away. I need to stop thinking. I have to fall asleep. Why can't my brain just be quiet? The harder they fight, the stronger the thoughts become. Have you ever noticed that the moment someone tells you not to think about something, that is exactly what fills your mind? Try this for just a second. Do not think about a white bear, not for the next 5 seconds. Whatever you do, don't picture it. What happened? Your mind created the very image you were trying to avoid. Thoughts work the same way. Resistance gives them energy. The Stoics understood this centuries before modern psychology gave it a name. Epictetus taught that we suffer far more from our judgments than from the events themselves. The thought is rarely the true problem. Our struggle against the thought is what gives it power. Imagine standing in the ocean. A wave begins moving toward you. If you try to stop it with your hands, it knocks you down. But if you allow it to rise, pass over you, and continue on its way, the wave disappears on its own. Thoughts behave in much the same way. Every thought has a beginning. Every thought has a middle. Every thought has an end. Unless you keep pulling it back. That is exactly what overthinking does. Your mind finishes a thought. Then you replay it. You analyze it. You argue with it. You imagine a different ending. Without realizing it, you have restarted the same mental movie for the 10th time. Marcus Aurelius understood that the mind always has a choice. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 8, paragraph 47, he reminds himself that the soul is disturbed only when it chooses to cling to its own judgments. Notice the word cling, not think. Cling. There is a profound difference. You cannot always choose your next thought, but you can choose whether to hold on to it. Tonight, when the next anxious thought arrives, do not fight it. Do not chase it. Do not judge yourself for having it. Simply notice it. Allow it to pass through your mind like a cloud drifting across the night sky. Because thoughts lose their power the moment you stop treating them like enemies. But there is another trap that keeps the mind awake long after the thoughts themselves should have disappeared. It is the stories your mind creates from those thoughts, and that changes everything. Practice 2. Separate facts from stories. Your mind is an extraordinary storyteller. Especially after midnight, a single thought appears, and within seconds, it becomes an entire story. Your boss replies with a short message. He must be disappointed with me. A friend doesn't answer your text. Maybe I said something wrong. Your partner seems quieter than usual. What if something is changing between us? Notice what happened. Nothing actually changed. Only the story did. This is how overthinking quietly steals your peace. Your mind begins with one simple fact. Then it fills in every blank with fear. The Stoics understood that human beings rarely suffer because of reality itself. They suffer because of the meaning they attach to reality. Epictetus expressed this timeless idea in one of his most powerful teachings. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Think about that for a moment. Two people can experience exactly the same situation. One sleeps peacefully. The other lies awake until 3 in the morning. The event was identical. The story was completely different. This is why the mind becomes so dangerous at night. There are no new facts, only new interpretations. And when your body is tired, your imagination becomes louder than your reason. The smallest uncertainty suddenly feels enormous. A simple possibility becomes a certainty. A question becomes a prediction. A thought becomes a future that has not happened. Ask yourself something the next time your mind begins racing. What do I actually know? Not, what am I afraid might happen? What do I actually know? That single question separates facts from fiction. Perhaps your friend is simply asleep. Perhaps your boss had a busy day. Perhaps tomorrow's meeting will go far better than your mind is predicting. Your brain always prefers completing the story. Wisdom prefers waiting for the truth. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to look at events exactly as they were, without adding unnecessary judgment. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 4, paragraph 7, he reflects on the importance of stripping away opinions until only reality remains. That is one of the greatest forms of mental freedom. Reality is often much lighter than the stories we build around it. Tonight, when your mind begins writing another frightening story, pause. Ask yourself one simple question. Is this a fact, or is this a story? That single question can stop an entire night of unnecessary suffering. But even when you separate facts from stories, your mind still has one habit that keeps dragging you into tomorrow. The Stoics discovered a simple way to bring it back to the only place where peace has ever existed: the present moment. Practice 3. Bring your mind back to the present. Overthinking has one favorite destination: tomorrow. It almost never keeps you awake because of this moment. It keeps you awake because of the next one. The meeting you haven't had yet. The conversation that hasn't happened. The decision you haven't made. The problem that may never even exist. Your body is lying safely in bed, but your mind is already living in a future that hasn't arrived. That is why anxiety feels so real at night. Your imagination travels much faster than reality ever can. The Stoics knew that the human mind has a dangerous habit. It abandons the only place where peace is possible: the present moment. Marcus Aurelius constantly brought himself back to what was directly in front of him. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 8, paragraph 36, he reminds himself that a man should limit his attention to the task immediately before him, instead of exhausting himself with everything that might happen next. That wisdom becomes even more powerful after midnight, because your mind believes it can solve tomorrow. Tonight, it cannot. Think about how many nights you've spent worrying about something, only to wake up the next morning and realize it wasn't nearly as frightening as your imagination had made it. The future always looks heavier in the dark. That is one of the oldest tricks of the mind. So when your thoughts begin running toward tomorrow, bring them gently back, not with force, with awareness. Feel your breathing. Notice the weight of your body against the mattress. Listen to the quiet sounds around you. Feel the air entering your lungs and leaving them again. Nothing else is asking anything from you. Not tomorrow's meeting. Not yesterday's mistake. Not next week's uncertainty. Only this breath. Only this moment. The present is remarkably small. That is why it is so peaceful. Your mind may try to leave again. Let it. Then quietly guide it back. Again and again. Not because you failed, because this is the practice. Every return strengthens your attention. Every return weakens anxiety. Every return reminds your mind that right now, in this exact moment, you are safe. Marcus Aurelius had another evening habit that made this practice even more powerful. Before allowing sleep to take him, he gave his thoughts somewhere else to rest, not inside his mind. On paper. Practice 4. Empty your mind onto paper. Your mind was never designed to be a storage room. Yet every night, that is exactly how most people use it. Unfinished conversations, tomorrow's responsibilities, random ideas, old regrets, new fears, questions without answers. Your brain tries to hold on to all of them at once. It believes that if it keeps thinking, it won't forget. So it keeps repeating the same thoughts, again and again, long after your body is begging for rest. The problem is not that your mind has too much to think about. The problem is that it has nowhere to put those thoughts. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most people realize. The meditations were never written to impress anyone. They were private conversations with himself, a place where he could examine his fears, challenge his judgments, and leave his thoughts on paper instead of carrying them through the night. He wasn't writing because he had all the answers. He was writing because it helped him think more clearly. There is something remarkably powerful about moving a thought from your mind to a page. The moment you write it down, your brain receives an unexpected message. I don't have to keep carrying this anymore. That is why psychologists today often recommend what is known as a brain dump. The Stoics were practicing a version of it nearly 2,000 years ago. Tonight, before you go to bed, take a sheet of paper. Not your phone, not your computer. Paper. Spend 3 quiet minutes writing down everything that is occupying your mind. Do not organize it. Do not judge it. Do not try to solve it. Simply empty it. Write the worries. Write the unfinished tasks. Write the conversations. Write the fears. Write the questions. Then close the notebook. Not because every problem has been solved, but because your mind now knows it no longer has to keep repeating them to make sure they are remembered. You are giving your thoughts a place to rest, so that your mind can finally do the same. Many people discover something surprising the first time they try this. Most of the thoughts that felt enormous inside their heads suddenly look much smaller on paper. Clarity has a quiet way of shrinking fear. But there is one mistake people still make after writing everything down. They believe every problem they have written deserves an answer. Tonight, the Stoics knew that this is where overthinking quietly begins. For again, practice 5. Accept that not every problem needs tonight's solution. There is something strange about the human mind after midnight. Everything suddenly feels urgent, a decision that could easily wait until tomorrow. Feels as if it must be made right now. A problem that has existed for months suddenly demands an answer before you can fall asleep. An email, a relationship, your finances, your career, your future. At 2 o'clock in the morning, every unanswered question convinces you that it cannot wait another day. But ask yourself something. How many important decisions have you ever made while lying awake in bed that truly improved your life? Very few. Because exhaustion does not produce wisdom. It produces urgency. The Stoics understood that the quality of your judgment depends on the quality of your mind. A tired mind magnifies every uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself in Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 12, Paragraph 3, that we should not allow the mind to be dragged away by imagined troubles, but remain with what reason can clearly see in the present moment. That lesson becomes priceless at night. Your mind believes it is solving tomorrow's problems. Most of the time, it is simply recycling today's fears. Imagine trying to navigate through a dense forest in complete darkness. Would you trust every direction your eyes suggested? Of course not. You would wait for daylight, not because the forest has changed, but because your ability to see has. Your mind works exactly the same way. Fatigue is emotional darkness. It distorts distance. It exaggerates danger. It convinces you that uncertainty is an emergency. It is not. One of the wisest habits you can develop is giving yourself permission to postpone unnecessary decisions. Tell yourself something simple. I do not have to solve this tonight. Repeat it slowly. I do not have to solve this tonight. Those words are not avoidance. They are wisdom. Because sleep is not an interruption to clear thinking. Sleep is often what makes clear thinking possible. Trust the version of yourself that will wake up tomorrow with a rested mind. He will almost always see possibilities that tonight's exhausted mind cannot. Your thoughts are asking for certainty. Your mind is asking for rest. Learn to give it what it actually needs. Because not every question deserves an immediate answer. Some questions become smaller after a good night's sleep. Others disappear completely. And once you stop believing that every thought deserves an immediate solution, you discover something even more liberating. You are not your thoughts. You are the one quietly watching them. Practice 6. Become the observer, not the thinker. There is one mistake almost every person makes without realizing it. They believe every thought that enters their mind belongs to them. An anxious thought appears. I am anxious. A fearful thought appears. I am afraid. A negative thought appears. There must be something wrong with me. But pause for a moment. If you can notice a thought, Who is doing the noticing? There is a quiet part of you that has been present your entire life. The part that watches, the part that is aware, the part that notices thoughts coming and going. The Stoics understood that this observer is where your freedom begins. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself that the mind always has the ability to examine its own judgments instead of becoming enslaved by them. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 7, Paragraph 2, he reflects on the importance of stepping back from immediate impressions so that reason can decide what deserves attention. That single habit creates space, and in that space, peace begins. Imagine sitting beside a quiet river. Leaves are floating on the surface of the water. Some move quickly, others drift slowly. You don't chase them. You don't stop them. You simply watch them pass. Your thoughts are no different. One thought says, "What if tomorrow goes wrong?" Let it pass. Another says, "You'll never solve this." Let it pass. Another whispers, "You should have handled that conversation differently." Let it pass. Not because those thoughts are meaningless, but because not every thought deserves your attention. Most people become passengers inside their own minds. The Stoic becomes the observer. That small shift changes everything. When you stop identifying with every passing thought, you stop being pulled in every direction your mind decides to travel. The thoughts may still arrive, but they no longer control the journey. This does not happen overnight. It is a practice. Some nights, your mind will wander 100 times. Bring it back 100 times, not with frustration, with patience. Every time you notice that your attention has drifted, and gently return to the present, you are strengthening the most important skill a peaceful mind can develop. Awareness, because awareness always comes before control. And once you discover that you are not your thoughts, only one practice remains, the practice that quietly transforms the way every night comes to an end. It is simple. It takes less than a minute, yet it has the power to change what your mind carries into sleep. Practice 7. End every night with gratitude, not fear. Every night before you fall asleep, your mind asks one final question. What should I keep thinking about? Whatever answer you give, that is often what your mind carries into sleep. Most people don't answer that question consciously. Fear answers it for them. The mistake they made earlier, the conversation they wish had gone differently, the uncertainty waiting for them tomorrow, the future they cannot control. Without realizing it, they are teaching their minds that the last thing worth remembering each night is anxiety. The Stoics chose differently. Marcus Aurelius ended many of his reflections by returning his attention to what remained within his control. Throughout meditations, he repeatedly reminded himself that peace is found not by demanding certainty from tomorrow, but by living well today. That simple habit changes the way the mind prepares for rest. Imagine ending every evening with one quiet question. What went well today? Not, what went wrong? At first, your mind may struggle to answer. It has spent years searching for danger. Now you are asking it to search for something else. A moment of kindness, a lesson you learned, a promise you kept, a beautiful sunset, a conversation that made you smile, the meal that nourished you, the roof above your head, the breath moving calmly through your body. None of these moments erase your problems, but they remind your mind of something it easily forgets. Life is happening in more than one direction. There is difficulty, there is uncertainty, there is pain, but there is also beauty. There is progress, there is strength, there is gratitude. Where your attention rests, your emotional life quietly follows. That is why gratitude is not pretending everything is perfect. It is refusing to let fear become the only story your mind remembers. Before you close your eyes tonight, take one slow breath, then another. Think of 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. Not because your life is perfect, because your mind deserves to end the day with something gentler than fear. You cannot always choose the first thought that enters your mind before sleep, but you can choose the last thought you deliberately feed. Do that consistently, and something remarkable begins to happen. Your nights become quieter. Your mornings become lighter. Not because life suddenly became easier, but because your relationship with your own mind has completely changed. There is something I hope you remember long after this video ends. Your mind was never trying to become your enemy. It was trying to become your protector. It simply forgot the difference between preparation and peace. For years, it believed that if it kept replaying the past, it could protect you from making the same mistake again. It believed that if it kept worrying about tomorrow, it could stop tomorrow from hurting you. It believed that if it never stopped thinking, it would never let danger surprise you. The intention was never the problem. The habit was. That is why fighting your mind has never worked. You cannot build peace by declaring war on yourself. The Stoics understood that true strength is not found in controlling every thought. It is found in choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. Marcus Aurelius spent his life surrounded by uncertainty, responsibility, and pressure. Yet he constantly returned to one simple truth. Peace does not come from a quieter world. It comes from a quieter relationship with your own mind. That is the journey you began today. Not the journey of becoming someone who never overthinks. Such a person does not exist. The journey of becoming someone who no longer fears their own thoughts. Because the moment fear disappears, overthinking begins to lose its power. Tonight, when you turn off the lights, your mind may still bring you old memories. It may still whisper old fears. It may still replay conversations you cannot change. Do not fight it. Notice it. Breathe. Smile gently. Then remember everything you learned today. Do not fight your thoughts. Separate facts from stories. Return to the present. Place your thoughts on paper. Allow tomorrow to wait until tomorrow. Become the observer. End your day with gratitude instead of fear. You do not have to master all 7 practices tonight. Choose one. Practice it consistently. Then allow the next one to become part of your life. Because wisdom is never built in one extraordinary night. It is built in ordinary evenings, repeated hundreds of times. One peaceful night comes another, then another. Until the person lying awake at 2 o'clock in the morning slowly becomes someone who finally trusts their own mind again. If this video helped you see your thoughts differently, subscribe to the Discipline Code. Every week, we explore timeless Stoic wisdom to help you build emotional control, self-discipline, mental resilience, a strong mindset, and lasting inner peace. And before you go to sleep tonight, remember this. Your mind is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to lead it. Lead it with patience. Lead it with wisdom. Lead it with compassion. And little by little, the quiet you have been searching for will stop feeling so far away. It will begin within you.